Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, our group will present sampling under audit planning. First of all, let me introduce my group member, Mikael Muiz, Ahmad Bahaki, Adam Zafran, Haziq Razik, and Ahmad Zaki. The definition of sampling is the process of selecting a sample population from the target population. Representative sample, subset of a larger population that is chosen in such a way that it accurately reflects the characteristic of the entire population, to gather sufficient evidence about the financial transactions and account of an entity without having to examine every individual item.
In the representative sample, a sample result can be non-representative due to non-sampling error or sampling error. The risk of these two types of errors occurring is called non-sampling risk and also sampling risk. For the first one is non-sampling risk. Non-sampling risk in auditing refers to the risk that arises from factors other than the sampling process itself. Auditors often use sampling methods to examine a subset of data when conducting audits, and sampling risk is the risk that the auditor's conclusion may be different from the conclusion they would reach if they examine the entire population. Secondly, sampling risk is a risk that auditor reach an incorrect conclusion due to the sample is not representative of the population. Therefore, sampling risk arises because the auditor is making inferences about the entire population based on the results observed in the sample.
Now we will go to the form of sampling. First is the statistical, applying mathematical rules or scientific approach. Auditor measure sampling risk by planning the sample and by evaluating the result. And second is the non-statistical. Auditor do not quantity the sampling risk. Auditors select sample which they believe will provide the most useful info based on judgmental basis.
There are two types of sampling, which are non-probabilistic judgmental sample and probability sample selection. For non-probabilistic judgmental sample, there are three methods of sampling, which are direct sample selection, block sample selection, and haphazard sample selection. Non-probabilistic sampling relies on the auditor's subjective judgment to choose items that are deemed relevant or likely to contain errors or exceptions. It involves the purposeful selection of specific things from a population based on the auditor's judgment and competence.
The second type of sampling is probability sample selection. First, we have simple random sample selection, systematic sample selection, probability proportional to size sample selection, and stratified sample selection. This approach was aims to eliminate bias and ensure that the selected sample is representative of the entire population, allowing auditors to make statistical inference about the population based on the sample results.